Chicago. Yes, another Friday night. Yes, another day of grief. Yes, another day of critical thinking. Another day of living with racism in America. Why do I say that? I say that because of the incident that occurred in Frisco, Texas. It has been all over social media. I have seen it come up in my feed, but I never did it. But however, the story itself, once I really got off into it and paid attention to what was going on, it's sad. It's sad that Karmelo Anthony, 17 years old, young black man, at a track meet, and you have another 17-year-old young man who was on demon time, and his name is Austin Metcalf. However, or ironically, these two young men are different in hue form, meaning one white and one black. Now, according to the reports and according to common sense, according to history, according to self-defense, according to stand your ground, state of Texas, here it is, you have this young black man. And what does he do? He stabs the 17-year-old Austin Metcalf in his heart with a knife. Why did Karmelo Anthony do that? According to the reports and common sense, Karmelo Anthony was being bullied or racially targeted by these two young white men who did not even go to the school. In fact about it, they was in some track meet competition, but these guys didn't run track, they ran football. I'm talking about Austin Metcalf and his brother. Needless to say, the defendant, Karmelo Anthony, was just minding his own business, sitting up under a tent that was provided for the athletes at the meet, minding his own business. Now you have two young men that's on demon time. And that would be Austin Metcalf and his twin brother. On demon time, left one of the tents that they were in to go over and cause ruckus with this young man, Karmelo Anthony. They took his items, broke his phone, threw it on the floor, and then tried to physically and aggressively remove him from the tent in which he was minding his own business in. Now, we're going to stop right there for a minute. I want to thank everybody that's out there in the chat room tonight. What city and state you from? Me, I'm from the concrete jungle, city of gangsters, Chirac, Chicago. However, we're dealing with Texas right now. And I want to tip my hat to you. Excuse me, I want to tip my hat to you for tuning in, because you could have been doing something else with someone else, but you decided to stop by to see what we had to say, and I appreciate that. Karmelo Anthony being aggressively attacked, violently attacked by two young white men who stood well, Austin did stand over 6 feet. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, they say he was 6'1" in height, weighed over 200 pounds. And you have the underdog, the little man. Karmelo Anthony weighs in at 130, 140. Austin Metcalf has 60 pounds, 70 pounds on him, and 4 inches in height, 4 or 5, give or take. And not only does he have to deal with one of them, he has to deal with 2 of them. I'm from Chicago. I don't know where you from. But coming from the streets of Chicago, if someone violently attacks you, you attack back. You attack back. Especially if you was just minding your own business. He didn't even have them on his radar because he was minding his business. But however, he did have a knife with him at that track meet. Now you may want to ask yourself, why did he have that knife at the track meet? In fact about it, could it have been some type of cosmic intervention that made him take that knife? Because if he didn't have that knife, he would have been beaten to a pulp. Maybe he had the knife because he was being bullied. Maybe he had the knife because he seemed scared. But for whatever reason that he had that knife, and I myself, I have to go with the cosmic forces of the universe told him to take it. God told him, yo, Allah, Jesus, whatever you want to call him or her. Could you imagine what would have happened to Karmelo Anthony had he not had that knife? Once again, I want to reiterate on the fact that Austin Metcalf and his brother was on demon time. On demon time. And here it is. You have this 4.0 GPA student. Doesn't have a criminal record. Everybody speaks highly of him. And he had dreams and goals to reach. But for whatever reason, seeing that Mr. Metcalf did not go to that school, the thing is this. If that was your child, what would you have preferred your child to do? To get dead by 2 young race soldiers, white supremacist soldiers. And it's sad that they trying to place a bad image in regards to pictures of this young man, Karmelo Anthony, versus the other 2, Austin Metcalf and his twin brother, walking around with machine guns, taking pictures, AR rifles. Have you seen any images or photos that is not, done with Photoshop, but real photos of this young man in action every day? Do we have that? Oh, you want to say he had a air gun? An air gun versus a real gun? Real guns is not a toy. I'm just saying. All of y'all out there from wherever city and state you from, would you allow anyone to jack you like that? Clearly, Karmelo Anthony feared for his life. It's sad how the world in which we live in seem to not want to give us any justice. Especially this young black man who has his whole future ahead of him, but was demonly attacked because these two young white males was on demon time. He didn't attack them. He didn't go over to their tent. They came to him. Took his, like I said, took his phone, broke it, took his items, and then tried to uplift him up out the tent. What did you want that young man to do? What would you have done? What would you have wanted your child to do? Could that have easily happened if Austin Metcalf was a young black man too? Yes, chances are possibly even greater. But the newspapers, the social media, the podcasts, reporters, journalists wants to place or want you to have a distorted vision of Karmelo Anthony. And they set his bond at $1 million. Hell, do we think that that is a little excessive for the young man? And then you want to charge him with first-degree murder for self-defending himself. But me knowing just a little bit about law, even if they find him guilty, it won't be first-degree murder. The minimum is manslaughter. Hopefully, there's no charges at all. In fact, about it, he's living in what? The state of the Dallas Cowboys? In the state. Not the city, but in the state. Arlington and Frisco is two different places. I get it. All of you Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, that Prescott. Tremont Diggs. Why is that young man still in there? And all of you other black players, athletes that are professionals. Mr. Oversham, where you at? Somebody needs to stand up for this young man. This man should not be in jail. This young man. Now, according to the reports, the culprit of the whole situation raised almost $3,000, or was it three? Yeah, they raised up to $300,000. I'm sorry, $300,000. Whereas you had Carmelo's Anthony fundraising was a little bit over $200,000. Now, why is that? Should there be any fundraiser for the culprit, for the one who was on demon time? You're looking for justice, or you're looking to give justice to the person that was on demon time, especially in 2025 in the state of Texas, the famous red state, Texas? Are you kidding me? In fact, about it, if you ever know the history of Texas, you know that Texas was known to be one of the most famous states for lynching. Besides Mississippi and Georgia, Texas went wild. And I left out Alabama, okay? But Texas, in regards to their history or encounter with black people after slavery, history still has not been nice to black people in America. Now, this case here, if I was a judge, even after all of the testimonies of the witnesses who saw this, who heard this, who said that, what's his name? Yeah, Austin Metcalf. the Metcalf twins, came over there to brutalize, to beat to death, to a pope, and make the man feel like he was nothing, the young man, for no reason. Today's a different day here in America. If I had $1 million, I'd give him half to get out. And somebody got to come up with the other $500,000. But for all of you athletes, pro athletes, where is Charles Barkley at? Where is Shaquille O'Neal at? Where is Kenneth Smith at? Where these brothers at? Where are all of these entertainers at? Where is Oprah Winfrey at? Where is Jay-Z at? Where is Beyonce at? Where is everybody to help this young man? Nobody wants to help him. Well, I can't say nobody wants to help him. They raised over $200,000. But the young man should not be in prison. The young man should not be in prison. I was supposed to do a We Got That Smoke episode tonight, but it was incumbent upon me to talk about this, especially after I just kept seeing it go out through social media. And you all want to paint the defendant a bandit, a murderer, a bad guy, a person who didn't belong there. Even after Austin Metcalf said, whoever comes to the track meet gonna get it. So I guess Karmelo Anthony understood what he was saying. Now, is that a threat? Is that not a verbal threat? Now, you may say he could not have just said it to him. He could have been said it to anybody. So why is it that Karmelo Anthony was the one who was so viciously attacked? I'm just saying. Y'all think about that. When is racism in America going to end? Do you think it'll ever end? Do you think it will ever end? Or do you think that it will go on forever like Mr. Graves said in the Confessions of Nat Turner? Huh? Racism in America. All of you religious people, you Jesus people, godly people, with all of these people that we have in this world that looks like Karmelo Anthony, you all know that that young man should not be in prison. In jail, because he's not in prison yet. Some people say he's cooked, but I don't say he's cooked. And how could a justful judge, a justful prosecutor, try to even convict this man? Like I said, there were witnesses there. And there was other testimonies from people in that tent that was there. How do you think it's going to pan out in court? This wasn't like one of those Luigi acts. Well, maybe it could have been, but it wouldn't not have been over insurance. It just would have been two white boys want to humiliate a young black boy or possibly kill him, murder him, take him away from his brothers, his sisters, his mama, his daddy, his aunts, his cousin. You wanted to take him away. That was your plan. Isn't that how it all starts anyway? If they went that far to go over to the tent to where he was at, how much further do you think they would have went? How much further do you think they would have went? Common sense here now. What if that was you? What would you have done? What would you have done? It's crazy out here in America. 2025. The country's gone mad with all of these race soldiers reappearing, making themselves known, expecting young black men, young black women, or any black man or black woman, adult or child, to bend down to the ground and let them do to you what they want to do to you. Not in 2025. A couple of months ago, you had another race soldier. I forget the young man's name, but he was attacked by a young white guy. And upon the attack, the culprit got what he was asking for. The young black man stole on him, knocked him out, hit his head, and he died. Should he be in prison as well? Should he be in jail? He was minding his own business. How can you defend a demon? I'm not talking about it's a simple busted nose act or no, because you don't know what they would have did to him. You don't know. You wasn't there. Is that what his mom and dad taught him to do? Is that what his mom and dad taught him to do? And I'm talking about Austin Metcalf and his twin brother. Is that what their parents taught them to do? I'm sure every parent has told their child to defend themselves, but not to attack people unless you are one of those thinking people like that. A racist, a bigot, a right-winger, a Nazi, a skinhead. You're in that frame of mind just to attack and expect no one to defend? What if it was the other way around and Karmelo Anthony targeted Austin Metcalf and Austin Metcalf put a knife in Karmelo Anthony's heart? Do you think this story would have been going the way that it is? Do you think the situation would have been going the way that it is? Could you imagine what it would have been like if Karmelo Anthony was the attacker and Austin Metcalf was the defendant who stabbed him in his heart? You cannot tell me in 2025 in America that story would be looked at different. And you think that they're making Karmelo Anthony look like a villain now? Imagine if he was the villain. I'm just saying. That's what it is. So tomorrow night, I give you all that we got that smoke. However, I did not just leave you with nothing. All of you white racist soldiers out there, do you teach your child to defend themselves, or do you teach your child to attack black people and people of color? Is that what you do? You give your kids guns to be a race hater? Excuse me, not a race hater, a color hater. Because there's only one race, and that's the human race. Okay, even if you want to say a different race, because we're not the same. Only an unintelligent person would not say we're the same. We're different, but we're also the same, okay? We're different, but we're also the same, because you don't have black people out here simply attacking white people. You don't have black people out here just walking up to white people, starting nonsense with them. No, you don't see that. When was the last time you heard black people hanging white people? Have you ever heard that before? Have you heard of black people hanging white people? Could you imagine what Karmelo Anthony thoughts were running through his head? Could he have been another hung victim? Could he have been another victim of death, torture, and racism? Because of these two young white boys who came looking for some action and got more than they expected. Sad that that young man is in jail. So all of you entertainers that's out there that continuously want black people to support you, you all need to get that young man out of jail. That's all we got for you right now. I'm absolutely disturbed about it, but I'm sure there's going to be more disturbing things coming up. In the streets of America, because of racism, because of bigotry, because of one who feels that they are superior over another because of their color. We're in some sad times, you all. It's 2025. But they trying to take us back to 1555, to 1863, to 1840. The young black man of today is not going for that. And no black adult is going for that. Have you seen all of these racist attacks that has been posted lately on social media about these Karens? Karens and Kens. Sad. It's 2025 when you have this great melting pot that they call America. Can't get their head wrapped around that this is a mixture of people. You have white women have children by black men. You have black women having children by white men. You understand? And sorry to say that if you didn't have any black, you wouldn't have any white. That's my time, you all. On your way out the door, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and the word all to help ensure that you get notifications when I upload videos on YOUTUBE. And if you are into traveling or getting more food for thought on your brain, go to my other channel, MOPOWERZ, where you will get such audiobooks such as From Babylon to Timbuktu, The Black Man in America, The Destruction of Black Civilization, The Chronological Order of Alchemy and Wicca, The Demonology of King James, As a Man Thinketh, Miseducation of the Negro, 16 Crucified Saviors, From Niggas to Gods, with Louis Farrakhan, with Dr. John Henry Clark, with Dr. Amos Wilson, traveling, You can go from Florida to California, California to Montana, back over to Boston, up to Maine, back down to St. Louis, over down to Nashville, over in Idaho. If you're into traveling, go over to that channel, MOPOWERZ. And it's just like old school hip hop, R&B, spoken word, comedy, Chicago street clips, and Chicago movies. Go over to my other channel, THEMOSHOW Classics, all one word, no space, here on YOUTUBE. And do the same on those two pages. Subscribe, like, and share. We appreciate you all. And if you want to support this channel, you can just simply press the subscribe button for absolutely for free. But we appreciate donations in the super chat as well. Always, as I've always told you, be careful what you say, be careful what you do. I think those are some of the most wisest words that I can give you right now. Be careful what you say and be careful what you do, especially when you're out there on demon time. They didn't expect Karmelo Anthony to strike back. You never know what you're going to get in the Cracker Jack box. I'm just saying. And when you let the jack out of the jack in the box, you see what happens. The man feared for his life. The man feared for his life. If Austin Metcalf had feared for his life, all of this would have been a different story. I know it, you know it, and they know it. But that's my time, you all. I want to say thank you. I tip my hat to you. Peace out. And by all means, don't ever, ever give up on your DREAMS. Thanks for viewing.